Okay, guys, I think Mickey, well, let's just guess where Mickey's at. I bet you'll never guess where Mickey is.
I heard you always mow in.
Peekaboo, hey babe.
Hello.
What you got going on?
Well, our Amish pastes are getting out of control.
Oh my goodness, look at that.
So I'm still having to top them.
They're taller than you are. You're 6 feet. So what's that make?
At the tomatoes,
Oh, wow.
6 foot tall. Tomatoes are.
Okay.
You know, we had some comments and some folks asking about how I sucker these plants. Well, as you can tell, these aren't suckered. But I'll give you an example. Just like this main stem that's growing up, and this is actually a sucker off of the bottom. But as that stem grows up, in every little armpit, some people call them a crotch, but you can see that this is a sucker that's come off of this armpit of this one. Or actually this one. Well, I'm still suckering on our Jetstar tomatoes.
Yeah, I think a few of the viewers wanted to get more detail about that.
Yeah, we did have some interest wanting to know how I did it. I'm sure there's lots of different ways that people do it, but this is the way I do it. As you can see, that main stalk, as it's coming up and growing on the little armpits, you're going to see that there'll be a new plant growth. And if you want to sucker your plants, then you need to come in here and take that out. And that way you're driving all the energy into the main plant and to the tomatoes. But if you don't sucker them...
So you basically just took the corner, that one little corner piece out.
That little new growth that's in the armpit. See this? That's the same thing. Take it out while it's young. That will also be the same thing. It'll be a sucker. But looking at our Amish paste...
Let me try one. Look here.
Just pinch it right out.
So it's right there in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And you just pinch it out.
Here's your one here. You can see that main stem, and then you can see right in the armpit. When they get very big, if you tear them out, you don't want to peel anything off of the tomato stem itself, because that'll harm it.
Cause injury.
But when they get a little bit bigger, you need to use some snippers. But these are not suckered, and so you can see what happens when you don't sucker the plants. They're just going to continue to grow if it's a indeterminate. And so I've topped these so they won't grow any farther, because when they do, they're just going to fall over and die.
So what's determinate exactly and indeterminate?
So you have two different types of tomatoes. There's lots of different species of tomatoes, and different varieties, I should say. But there's only two types of tomatoes, a determinate and an indeterminate. These Amish paste are indeterminate. So that means that they're going to grow until the end of the season, until frost or cold weather gets it.
So they just keep growing.
Right.
But determinate has a limited amount of time for the growing period. Is
Exactly.
that correct?
And these Mountain Fresh, you see how small these are? These are determinate. They're not supposed to make a plant as big as those other ones. So these are going to probably another 3 or 4 weeks, and these will be done making tomatoes. They won't make any more blooms. It'll just be a stagnant plant that's ripening the tomatoes that's already on it. But our Sweet 100s, we have been overrun with those. And we only have 4 little plants, but we picked more than we need to. Let me say that.
Well, we've been really blessed with the garden this year. We have a lot of our friends on the YouTube videos and YouTube channels that are excellent gardeners, have excellent abilities. It's just the adverse conditions this year have really toppled their gardens.
Well, look how late it is right now. And it was, the temperature earlier was still 96 and it's almost dark out here. So we've really been blessed. We really have, that our garden is doing so well, because like you said, there's a lot of YouTube channels and even in our community, people that we know where their garden just is not doing very well.
And it's not really, does not reflect their abilities as gardeners,
Right.
so they shouldn't be discouraged. It's just adverse effects this year.
Just like I mentioned in an earlier video, that we are thankful that they're doing so well, because a blight or a disease could come in here tomorrow
can
and
change.
just wipe everything out.
Yeah.
So we don't take it for granted when we do have good vegetables.
Yeah, we're super grateful.
Yes. But that is what I'm doing.
So, Mickey, you mentioned the ties that you used
The little
last
clips.
week. What are those
There's
exactly?
different types. I've seen different kinds now. And they're harder to get undone than they look. But it's a little tomato clip. And I've been using
so you
these
get that
very...
at a hardware store? What's it called?
It's a tomato clip. And I've been using these very ones, same style, for goodness, long time, 20, 30 years. And I get mine from the Mennonites out of Kentucky. But it's just a tomato clip. And you put it, ideally you put it around the stalk, but I'm trying to keep the stalk in the center of these baskets. And so I want to prevent this plant from falling inside of this basket from the weight of those tomatoes.
And
so
that's quite a bit of weight, isn't it?
Yeah, well, hey, we've already picked the big ones.
Yep.
So anytime I can attach a limb to that basket, it will help hold that plant up and won't let it collapse. Let's go take a look at our cucumbers.
Hey, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Leave that there for just a second. You're funny.
Okay. So. Okay.
You're funny today.
I'm trying to be.
Wow, Mickey.
We're kind of proud of our cucumbers and our beans also.
That's amazing.
They finally met each other at the top. But goodness gracious, folks, we have been picking lots of cucumbers, and we've been sharing lots of cucumbers. More than we've been getting more cucumbers than we can use. So we're just passing that right along to family.
We've pickled quite a few.
Yeah, lots and lots.
And several different kinds of pickles: sweet, dill, bread and butter.
Need to do the spears on some dill pickles. But our cucumbers have done exceptional this year. Last year, hardly anything on cucumbers. But as you can see, that's a white powdery mildew. There's another one that's popped its little head up. But whenever I see that, I will always just take that out and throw it down. And anytime you've got a spotted leaf, now this time of year, as hot as it is, this is going to be normal, that your leaves are going to start turning different colors as the plant gets bigger. But I just try to keep them trimmed out, picked through. Anything that looks bad to me, I'm going to take it out. And that just increases the airflow underneath these plants.
Well,
so it
looks
helps.
like this is a huge garden, but it's really not that big, is it, Mickey?
It's not. 350 square feet on that side and about 250 square feet on this side.
You're getting so much out of it because you're doing the upright gardening?
It's compacted and everything is close together. But if you've got good soil, if you've got good water, and if you've got a trellis system where they can get up off the ground and grow, as long as they have room to grow, they're going to continue to grow. And you can see that our Blue Lake pole beans have already came to the top. Now I'll say one thing, and I've seen other comments on videos in Tennessee this year about the Japanese beetles. Those dudes are a beast this year.
They've been a battle.
I'm on top of it 2 or 3 times a day, capturing and spraying them to try to reduce them, the amount. But it is a job. But see if you can make your way inside of a tunnel. You know, for the kids, this would be, or grandkids, I should say, this would be a good hide and seek.
Yeah, the grandkids would love that.
Yeah. And we're gonna love it when the green beans are ready to pick, and we're gonna say, "Here's your bucket. Go hide and pick." Not hide and seek, hide and pick. But even our beans are blooming good now too. And I've seen the honeybees really working these green beans.
And what type of green beans are these? I
These are,
know they're pole beans,
yeah,
but
they're blue lake. I like blue lake. I like the bush blue lake, and I also like the pole blue lake. It's just a tender green bean, no
stringless.
strings,
I like that.
snap bean, easy to can, and they taste good. Our zucchini squash is about to take over in the end out here. And
Well,
we have picked enough zucchini
we've
for,
harvested just off of those 3 plants. What about?
oh goodness, dozens. We've all harvested dozens of squash off of those 3 plants, and the yellow squash as well.
So I guess I keep going back to that subject because I just want viewers to know they don't have to have a whole gigantic
Your
farm.
backyard. All you need is some sunshine in your backyard, and just plant it out. And I'll give you an example. Next year, this is the second year on these gardens. So actually, this is really the second year that we've been growing a garden right here. Now, I had different setup before then, but this is the second year on this. And
On the terraced garden.
right. And so I can tell you that next year, I'm probably just going to plant half of this row of beans because that's going to be a lot of beans. And so then we're going to mix something else in on part of that trellis system and let it do its magic as well. But don't forget, guys, the electroculture. The electroculture works. That's why all this is growing the way it is on these baskets and on all these wire. See how I've got this attached right here? I've got it attached with a tie wire, and that's keeping the ground alive all the way to the bottom of the roots on these plants. And every time it lightens, it gets a little boost. Now it takes a little while to set all of that trellis system up, but goodness gracious, can you see the benefit of that overhead trellis when you're picking beans? You're in the shade, and it's easy to pick. Now it does get tiresome picking over your head, but the beans will just fall down and you'll be able to see them so easy. So it's a lot easier to pick, for me, it's a lot easier to pick the beans when it's in an arched trellis like that. And the row is so close together, you can see that I couldn't use the cattle panels for an arch because that just takes up too much room. So I just kept the cattle panels together. What is that, 3.5 feet wide, 4 feet wide, and just put the arch at the top.
Well, you really have a good system going there, Nikki.
It's working. And hey, our flowers are doing well, bringing in the pollinators. Our marigolds are helping on the aphids. I've had to spray for aphids one time, and I sprayed neem oil. I still see a few signs of aphids, but it's not really anything that I'm concerned with because we're picking tomatoes. And as long as we're picking ripe, healthy tomatoes, I'm not going to try to continue to spray these plants as hot as it is. Goodness, 103, 105 heat index today. And there's our 3 yellow squash plants, and they have produced. I picked those this morning. I think I picked 6 or 8 off of there this morning. Just about picking every day on those. And our bell peppers in our pots from Mr. Danny, they're turning out good. That's a little close up. But all of our pots from Mr. Danny at Deep South Homestead,
Look at that.
the peppers are doing good. We've been picking a lot of peppers.
Those are pepper growing pots right there.
Now I will say that these smaller pots, you definitely have to be on top of it. You're gonna have to water every day for certain. But we haven't had any rain now in 2 weeks. So it's no surprise that we're out here watering every day. and sometimes twice a day. It has been hot.
It's been pretty
And
tough.
this is still June. It is hot. It has been hotter this year, I think, than any year I can remember as far as June. And you might say, well, why aren't you picking those ripe tomatoes? Well, we'll get those in the morning. We're gonna let them turn a little bit red again tonight. And here's a tip for you guys. A tomato ripens from the inside. So you'll see, and you've seen this before if you haven't done it yourself. You'll take a half ripe tomato and you'll put it in your windowsill for the sun to shine on it. Well, don't do that, because the sun, all you're doing is heating that tomato up. If you want the tomato to ripen, if you pick this tomato right here that's half ripe, and if you put that in a brown paper bag and set that on top of your refrigerator, it will ripen faster than sitting it out here in the sunshine. It's the heat that ripens that tomato. And the tomatoes ripen from the inside out. And here's something else for you to think about. The tomatoes that you're getting from the grocery store, they are picked when they're green. Now they pick them, they know the right time to pick them and how soon it'll be before they ripen. But guys, these tomatoes, they ripen in the back of a truck up and down the interstate coming to a store close to you. They don't ripen in the field. And the reason being, if they ripened in the field, they wouldn't last until they got to a store near you. Because about 3 days is about the life of a ripe tomato, even in the best conditions.
It sure is nice to be eating straight from
It
the
is
vine red
nice
ripe.
to eat. Just, I mean, goodness gracious, we should slice one of these up and let everybody see. Let them see if they can see the expression when I bite into it. But they are good.
Well, none have gone to waste, that's for sure.
Ready to
What?
the property.
Hey, Mick.
Are you calling this a tomato update?
Oh my goodness, look at that. You got a few, didn't you? So this is your first day of picking the red ripe tomatoes?
Actually, we already had a couple, but this is the first day that I'm really picking a couple.
It looks like more than a couple. Look at all that.
Let's see how big this one is.
That's really exciting. We've been waiting for weeks for that. Wow.
It's a good tomato.
Yeah, that is awesome, Mick.
We'll
You're
add
a
that to our
tomato
collection.
growing scoundrel.
We'll just add it to the
Look
collection.
at that. Wow. Those are really nice, Mickey. Those are like picture quality.
This is why I like a Jet Star. They've got a good texture, good meaty tomato, perfect sandwich tomato.
Yeah, they're beautiful. Well, we'll just have to see how
But
good they
taste
taste.
great. That's the best thing.
That's the ticket right there.
You better give this one another day.
Yeah. Well, you did pretty well with those, Mick.
Look how our Mountain Fresh is doing. These are those Determinates, but they're just loaded.
Have you pulled any of those from
No, not
ripe yet?
Not any Mountain Fresh.
Wow. But they look pretty good on the vine.
We've been eating the Sweet 100s, and now we've got Amish paste to pick as well. And yes, lots of Sweet 100s over here on the ground. I'll be off over in that jungle here in a minute getting those.
Well,
But
at least
something I'd like to emphasize is how close all these tomatoes are together. People say, oh, you got to put them 2 foot, 4 foot apart. Some areas that's probably true, but for what we're doing here in Middle Tennessee, it works pretty good.
yeah.
Having them 20 inches apart. So the
Well,
proof
I
is in
think-
the pudding,
yeah,
as you said.
I think the real encouragement for viewers that don't have a huge farm to grow on, this just goes to
Maybe
show.
suburbs in the backyard. This is 350 square feet.
Yeah.
44 tomato plants and a dozen peppers. 350 square feet. This is about 13 feet wide, 30 feet long.
Yeah, and you're able to provide plenty for us and the neighbors.
And the community. And the community. It's all about community, family and community. But yes, Are you tired of canning yet? We're just getting started on the canning when all these tomatoes, and then the green beans will be right behind the tomatoes.
Yeah, we've done quite a bit, but thankfully things are coming in a pace where we're doing the
Right, not
cucumbers
all at
one night
once.
and tomatoes the next night. So, well, it's going to be fun, but
And then blackberries, our freedom blackberries are coming up. There's a lot of those that are ripe as well.
yeah,
We're gonna be
we
picking
have
them
some
for
blueberry picking to do too.
blueberries. Yes,
So we'll see how
lots
that
of
goes.
blueberries.
Well, I just am amazed with your tomato talent there, Mickey. I had to come out and video. I'm sorry to
No,
interrupt
that's
your
okay.
picking,
But we needed to do an update for everyone, anybody, and for everyone anyway.
so
And you
that's
might
easy for you
edit
to
that
say.
out.
Try that once more.
We're going. Stop me now. It's good that we're doing an update for everyone because we wanted to show when the tomatoes were first starting to get ripe, and it's before the 4th. We're
Yeah,
about, what, a week before the 4th?
yeah, it
What is
came
today?
through before the 4th of July, so that's really
which
awesome.
that means this is the test of the
and that-
test. This is that first big tomato off the bottom, and it's going to weigh a pound to a pound and a quarter, just like I said. This ain't my first rodeo, folks. I've been growing these Jet Stars for a long time. So anyway, we're
It's a
about
little
to
bit
have some
nicer
good
today.
fresh tomatoes.
It's only like 100 instead of
Oh
110.
yeah, it's not too hot today. It's only about 98 today.
The weather's been pretty brutal
look,
here,
I
but
want to show you. I want everybody to look at this Amish paste. That is Amish
looks like you
paste
got some
tomato.
company showing you how to pick tomatoes.
Look
She's
at
pointing
that
them out
Amish
to you.
paste. Kitty, 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 kitty.
Like, that's
That is a
amazing.
large.
Put your hand there so that people can kind of get an idea of.
That is a large Amish paste tomato.
Yeah, that's really something. I hope that it tastes
and
as
that
good
is
as
a
it
pretty
looks.
kitty cat. Where'd you come from? Blue eyes.
So,
But we're really going to start getting into the canning when we start getting bucket loads of these, and that's going to be soon.
yeah. Well, I'm excited that the tomatoes came in ripe, and we're going to have one for supper, aren't we, Mick?
Probably 3.
Well, you better get on in here. Supper's ready.
I'm ready to.
Okay.
Let me finish picking, and I'll be right behind you, young lady.
Sounds good. Mick, that was a lot of great information today. Thanks for sharing all that.
Guys, I know we had some comments on the way we're growing our tomatoes and some about the suckering. If you have any questions, put them in our comments below, and we'll sure enough get back to you, and we'll share anything that we have that might help you grow in your garden. But I hope you like our update. We wanted to update this before the 4th of July. We had ripe tomatoes. We've had them for about a week now.
We've been waiting and waiting every day, watching them on the vine, because Mickey won't pick them until they're completely red. They're ready to eat. When we pull them off the vine, they're ready to eat.
Folks will come by, customers and people will call and say they want some green tomatoes to make relish. Sorry about your luck. I don't pick green tomatoes, but we've been picking ripe ones, and man, they are good. And I hope everybody's garden is doing well. I know in our community and other places, gardens aren't doing as well this year, and we're really blessed
We are.
that our
I'm
garden
very
is
grateful.
producing the way it is. And it could end tomorrow, so we're not gonna press the issue too far. But
Yeah, it's not our gardening skills as much as just a blessing, and it's not anything to do with others' gardening skills when there's failure. It's just sometimes that's the way it works out with just the extreme temperatures that we've had this year.
the anomalies for the weather patterns, the sunshine, the radiation from the sun this year, guys. You know, if you've been out in it, you know it's hotter than it has been in the past. You can feel it directly on your skin just standing in the sunshine, 80 degrees.
Yep.
But the heat really from the sun has a lot to do with drying up our soil, drying up our plants, and we're not getting rainfall like we should. I don't think we've had rain but once in the last 10 days to 2 weeks. But for our drip system has really saved us. And guys, I know that if you have a drip system, you know what I'm talking about how often you're having to water your garden. But if you don't have a drip system or some sort of irrigation for your plants, you're going to have to really look into that for the future, because I believe this is not just an anomaly that's going to go away. I think this is going to probably be here for a while. So glad you stayed with us on this
for
for our.
us and coming back every week or whenever we're getting the videos out. We're grateful for your subscription and your thumbs up.
Yes, and if you like our videos, subscribe to our channel. We're going to have more coming. We're going to
Oh, we have something
We have
big
a lot of
coming up.
projects coming up.
We've got a great
Yeah.
project coming up. Mickey's working on something out in the mill, and
Yep,
it's
and
going
we
to be
got
exciting
some.
to see.
Well, it's a chick condo. So let's
Chick
just say
condo.
that I'm a builder.
Watch for
I'm a
chick.
builder from way back, and so now we're building a chick condo. So stay tuned, and we'll keep you updated on that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for watching.
Yeah. See you next time.
Yes.